dear Taurus, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for June 2016. And so I like to start out with what energy is your ruler in, because that gives you an idea of what types of energies you'll respond to or what you'll be inundated with as far as the energetic level. So Venus is going to be in Gemini, and it's going to be in there till the 16th, and then from about the 17th into the end of the month, Venus moves into Cancer. So when Venus is in Gemini, much of what you are going to value, much of what you are going to want is at a very superficial level. It's all about longevity. It's all about stability. I think you're really, really attaching to that trine type energy. I'm looking at my life, and I'm looking at it for the next 10 years. And I'm really attaching to what I need and want. Like, I'm really making some big decisions that I have to, that create really big personal and professional goals moving forward, because I am motivated. There's something I want at the end of it. It's like you envision what can happen if you just dedicate enough of your resources and enough of your energy to this. By the time that the 17th through the end of the month rolls around, it moves into Cancer. I think when it moves into Cancer, I think the duality ceases to exist. I think the needs and the wants are not quite as extreme, and you're much more practical with what you desire. And I think this conversation needs to happen, because we need the duality to have that conversation with our ruler about pleasure, about moving away from pain and moving toward pleasure. Very extreme, very dualistic energy. We need to know what is no longer serving us, what hurts us, what pleases us, what's the extreme of pleasure. We had to understand that, so that when we drop into Cancer, we can have a perspective of like, I'm ready to take action in the things that make me feel safe, feel nurtured, feel complete. There's a sense of I feel protected in these mindsets. I feel like I'm making some really good decisions. It's a cardinal energy. So you go from this airy, breezy type mindset where there's no consistency into Cancer energy that's all about consistency, all about, really honing in those decisions that you're trying to make, either moving, and you're all about moving away from pain when you're in Cancer. So some of you had some revelations about karma, about the past, because we had so many planets in retrograde. And we're going to have some conversations still yet about the past, but more about moving away from journeys, some karmic cycles that no longer serve us. I think this is going to be very significant in the month of June. So I like to talk about the energies that are consistently there throughout the month, and of course you're aspected kind of randomly, but consistent energies. So the 1st through the 10th is very, very significant. A lot of energies are playing a part in some of your decision making. I believe we have, so first of all, the North Node and Jupiter are going to square off with Gemini. And what I believe that this is Gemini energy. When it's in Venus, it's just all over. It's very pleasure seeking. It's extreme. There's highs, there's lows. You're always just moving towards something that makes you feel good, something that you think you deserve, something that you want. It's very decadent. It's very indulgent energy. Well, Virgo energy just doesn't respect that type of instability. It's much more practical, much more dutiful, much more responsible. And so those energies, of course, are going to clash, because you're supposed to be moving toward the North Node in Virgo. And if you're off being a flake and just doing whatever feels good in that present moment, I believe that you're going to have some difficult conversations about forward energy at the same time, because you know what? You're not thinking very forward. You're being indulgent. You're satisfying very superficial needs. This, of course, will then quincunx Pluto. Pluto is all about longevity, all about consistency, all about being dutiful and responsible. It's about tasks. It's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in a retrograde energy right now. So Capricorn energy in Pluto is about the darkest parts of where you're unstable. This is about shedding light where the instability lies, even in the darkest parts of you. For some of you, this is realization energy. This is to open up your eyes. This is to awaken you. This is to awaken you to take a look at the extremes, take a look at what it takes from you, take a look at how inconsistent and unstable it all is, and to make you realize that for some of you, you have very, very unrealistic expectations about a goal that you're hoping to achieve, because you're not even you're basing it on what makes you feel good right now. You're not looking at the entire picture or the whole point of that, of why you're drawn into these situations. And then I think there's a couple little off energies, but I believe they're significant enough to determine, because they stick around for a few days. So from the 4th to the 8th, Venus in Gemini is going to have that really intense conversation with Pluto. And then from about the 5th through the 21st, Venus, which is in Gemini, then it's going to switch over into Cancer. It's going to square off with Chiron. So what you hope and what you need moving forward on this karmic journey that you've been on, you're not being very realistic about. I think initially when the energy is in Gemini, it's just, I don't think I think the energy of the mutable Grand Cross is super confusing. You're really influenced. Your ruler is in the heart of this mutable Grand Cross. So you're all over the place this month. So a lot of these conversations that you're having, it's like that immediate need versus let's look at the big picture. Let's look at ascension. Let's look at let's look at everything big, because we have that grand earth trine. But we have this mutable Grand Cross, which your ruler is in the heart of, and I just believe that it is very, very difficult for you to remain consistent in mindsets, because you're like in the heart of being shaped into something, and it's significant at this time. So I believe that from the 7th through the 16th, Venus in Gemini is going to sextile Uranus in Aries. I like that this energy kind of gives you a little bit of a break. I think you're going to be a little bit more adaptable. You're going to be taking a look at the past and the present. I think you're going to identify some needs and wants that make you feel empowered. I believe that when you have that discussion with yourself, I believe that there's some clarity about what you identify with, so that you're not kind of all over the place just conforming in this energy. You're deeply identifying with something. And when you have that Uranian energy, you want to do something about it. It's like that force that just makes you want to react. It's very reactive energy. I think from the 11th through the 15th, Venus in Gemini is going to quincunx Mars. So this is about a relationship. This is about a bond. This is about a union. This is about habitual patterns that somehow some of you are bringing forth into current relationships. This is about past relationships. But the past has something to do with how you're reacting now. The duality, the inability to make a consistent choice. There's an extreme to the way that you're reacting, and the past, I think, holds the key, but there's some sort of inconsistency about it. And then I think from the 19th to the end of the month, when Venus moves into Cancer, I think it's going to trine Neptune, and I believe that you're going to have just such a harmonious relief in your head. It's going to put you back in tune with the intuitive. When Venus is in Gemini, logic tries to take over what you desire, what you want, what you need. And the duality is, I'm being guided this way intuitively, but logic says that I should be making this choice. And so there's a duality, but I think that when everything drops into Cancer, I believe that this is a much more sensitive energy. Taurus energy works really well with Cancer energy. There's a much more fulfilling thought process. You're much more in tune with what you, on a sensitive level, that you desire from whatever's going on. It's not so reasonable. It's not so logical. It's just, what do I deeply need? I mean, that's what you get down to in the heart. It's the heart of the situation. So we have a new moon on the 4th in Gemini, and it's going to be conjunct your ruler. So that's a really big energy for you. I believe what this new moon has to do with is there's a duality in what you desire moving forward. This is hard because what you want right now is some immediate gratification. Some of you, as I look at this, here's what I think is going on. During the new moon, you're involved in this mutable grand cross. And so I believe that some of you are settling for situations that I don't think are fulfilling you because some sort of immediate need or want. Like there's an extreme to it. There's a, I believe that when you really get down to it and you start asking yourself the really tough questions, I believe that many of you think, wow, there's a lot of risk involved. I'm not really comfortable with all the risk that's involved. It's about moving forward. I don't know how secure I am right now with moving forward in anything because of all the energy I'm being torn in so many different directions, especially regarding the past and the future and just my mindsets and the direction I want to go. Like there's just so much going on. And I believe that then you have that tough conversation with Pluto about, hey, this is what you need moving forward. The new beginning is erratic. You're being pushed. You're a bull, so you're stubborn as a bull. So for some of you, you just refuse to make some of the decisions that I think that you're being compelled to make out of the sake. Most of it could be out of just an immediate gratification for pleasure. Some of you know that you need to make some choices and some changes moving forward. The new beginning would be, of course, doing that. But for some of you, this dualistic mindset makes it very difficult. It's uncomfortable to make firm decisions because there's so much erratic energy. And so you're just kind of laying back, taking your time because you're really in a contemplative state and you're trying to apply some reason and logic to situations that are very intense. Then on the 6th, we have your ruler is going to align with the Sun in Gemini. And again, we're still caught up in that mutable grand cross. So when Venus is in Gemini and it exactly aligns with the Sun, what that means is that this is a peak moment for you. This is what do I desire? What do I want? What pleases me? What do I need? It's a very indulgent energy. It cuts to the chase. It's like, I want this and I'm going to do what it takes to get it because I desire it so deeply. But here's the strange thing. There's a duality in what you desire. Some of you may desire different outcomes or different situations or different people at the same level. And so it can be very difficult for you to really put all your eggs in one basket mentally at this time because both of those were pleasurable sources. Both of those mindsets gave you some gratification. There's some gratification from moving away from past mindsets to habitual patterns, but there's risk and there's all this energy. This is a lot of energy. It's a lot of pressure. I think this is a lot of pressure. Today is going to just feel like a lot of pressure to make some decisions to firm things up that I don't think you're ready to do. And when you align, I think the duality is you don't know what you align with. Not technically. Like, I know that you idealize something, but I don't think, I think that you see an opportunity, but I don't think that you want to take the risk and move forward with it. And I don't think that you completely understand the big picture at this point and the significance of this month. I think at the 17th, Venus moves into Cancer. I like that this energy changes for you. I think it's going to reel back the duality. It's going to make you much more in tune with your intuitive abilities. It's going to simplify things. It's going to get down to the basics of what nurtures your soul, what feels good. It's much more, it's a solid energy to invest in, I think. Now, at the time of this energy, when it shifts, we're going to have your ruler quincunx the moon at that exact moment that it shifts. So there's an intensity with a situation with a partner, and I believe that it's going to come down to what nurtures me. Where do I feel safe? Where do I feel loved? What do I intensely identify with in this partner that's really going to solidify all of those things? And I believe that Of course, there's the sun at this point is still in Gemini, so there's a duality in that. It's hard when we're making really big decisions. Like we're making, this is a turning point month for me. I mean, we had a lot of energy building and pushing us to kind of come to this situation where we see the duality. We see what's not working. We see, but it's like moving away from desiring something enough to nurture ourselves or to nurture others, to consider others as important as ourselves, to consider others as important as what we seek. This gets down to the heart of some of our deepest demons, and it brings them forth as well. Like, what are we hiding from ourselves? What are we hiding from partners? If we're having a problem with a partner, that's what we're hiding from ourselves. That's the problem we have with ourselves. It's not with our partner. It's bubbling all this stuff up to bring it forth so that we can start addressing these wounds that we have been suppressing, because all we've been doing is just seeking pleasure. Whatever feels good, we move in that direction. If it feels good, it moves in that direction. But we're not, there's no consistency, there's no longevity, because I don't think we deeply identify enough with it. Then we have the second full moon that is going to be in Sagittarius. This moon is a game changer for you. Now, this is a cumulative moon of about 2 months. We had Sagittarius in May, a full moon, and we have a Sagittarius full moon in June. This is an accumulative of 2 months worth of working on whatever it is that you've been trying to decipher. This moon is about making changes. For some of you, these changes could be drastic. For some of you, when this energy happens, the sun is also moving into Cancer. And so I think we're thinking about our home and family, solidifying things. I think we're thinking about our mindsets, what nurtures us, what makes us feel safe, what provides us with consistency. This is about making a commitment to make consistent choices. Cancer energy is actually a very grounded source of energy. Of course, it's moody as hell, but it has one primary purpose. It wants no more pain, and it learns from the past when you get a Cancer energy in you. So this month is about that turning away from past situations that no longer serve you, and about moving forward, and about desiring to do that. So we had to have this accumulative, all this energy pulling us in all different directions, our desires about the past, our desires about the future. And so this energy, this is not going to be your easiest month to get through, because of the Gemini energy that's in play for so long. But I believe that by the time we start dropping into Cancer, I believe that you're going to start to feel a little bit more emotionally consistent in what you desire, in what you want, in what you need from partnerships, in what you hope to identify as a pleasure source in your life. I think there's some very, very progressive energy in June. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again next month.